You still go through the motions. You still listen to worship. You still pray, at least sometimes. But deep down, something's missing. You used to feel his presence. Now it just feels quiet. Empty. Like he's far away. And maybe you've asked the question you were scared to say out loud, why don't I feel God anymore? But here's the hard truth. It's not that God stopped speaking. It's that we stopped listening, not with our ears, but with our hearts. We've become too busy, too numb, too compromised, and now the silence is louder than ever. 1. God didn't move. You did. God is unchanging, His word is steady, His presence is constant, so if we feel distant, we're the ones who moved. We fill our days with distractions, scrolling endlessly, chasing temporary highs, listening to 100 other voices, and then we wonder why we can't hear His. We're too plugged in to everything else to be still before Him. James 4:8 says, "Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you." But that means unplugging, slowing down, repenting, refocusing. We want God to feel close, but we stay far. We want His voice, but drown it in noise. He's not gone. He's exactly where He's always been. But maybe you've turned your back to the light and don't even realize it. 2. Sin numbs what the Spirit once stirred. If you've allowed compromise to creep in, don't be surprised when conviction fades. Sin doesn't just separate you from God, it numbs you to Him. What used to stir your spirit now feels like routine. What used to break you now barely moves you. Isaiah 59:2 says, "Your iniquities have made a separation between you and your God." And Hebrews 3:13 warns us that sin is deceitful, it hardens the heart. That hardness doesn't happen all at once, it's gradual. One compromise at a time, one "it's not a big deal" at a time. Until one day, you realize you don't feel Him anymore. Not because He stopped loving you, but because you stopped loving Him enough to turn back. 3. He speaks in stillness, not noise. We expect God to shout over the chaos, but He often whispers in the quiet. In 1 Kings 19, Elijah was looking for God in the wind, the earthquake, the fire, but God wasn't in any of those. He came in a still, small voice, a whisper. You can't hear that whisper if your life is non-stop noise, if your soul is never still, if your heart is always racing toward the next thing. The modern world is addicted to hurry, to stimulation, to sound. But God waits for those who will be still, who will sit, who will seek, not just His hand but His heart. If you want to feel Him again, you don't need louder worship or better vibes. You need stillness, silence, repentance, and time in His word, not rushed, not forced, but real. God never left, He never moved, He never turned away, but maybe you did. And now His silence isn't rejection, it's an invitation to return, to slow down, to confess what's come between you, to turn off the noise, get on your knees and whisper, "Lord, I'm here again." Type it in the comments. You may not feel Him instantly, but don't confuse silence with absence. God is near the brokenhearted. He revives the crushed in spirit. He meets those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. So come back, not to feelings, but to faith, and the fire will return.